welcome again to What Are You Really Craving? A Food Freedom Festival. And today I am really happy because I have a countrywoman of mine, Heike Yates, who is here. And Heike will talk about how intermittent fasting for over 50s can heal your gut and curb your cravings inside and out. And she will also be sharing a gift at the end with us. Now, Heike is a fitness and nutrition expert, a speaker, helping women worldwide to stay fit for over 30 years, and she doesn't look it. Heike's passion is empowering women over 50 to take action, saying, "Yes, I can," by taking back their health and strength to lead a vibrant and more fulfilled life. Her fitness, nutrition, and mindset programs help women that are empty nesters to burn fat with intermittent fasting, get lean and strong with Pilates, and prioritize their health goals to look and feel better. She has developed a reputation for creating real-life solutions and lasting results. Heike is Pursue Your Sparks creator and the 4-week Lean Out program and the Pursue Your Spark podcast host. And I can't wait to be on that one. Welcome, Heike. Willkommen.
Thank you, Andrea. Dankeschön. So
Now,
for all the listeners, now you know we probably are from Germany.
probably everybody got that. And by meanwhile, people might have actually discovered my accent is from Germany. And I've so far not mentioned it, actually. I mentioned that I live in Italy and you are in a quite nice place as well. You love outdoors. So tell me more about that.
So currently, guys, if watching this video, you see this beautiful background. And if it would not be a Zoom background, you would see my kitchen because I'm currently in Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii. And we've been here almost 6 weeks as an empty nester with a portable job as a coach with online training. It is a game changer to live somewhere else in the world and still be able to help your clients, my ladies, as I like to say, my ladies over 50. And the reason why here, I just turned 60. And my husband said, "What would you think? 6 for 60." And I scratched my head and I was wondering, what does he mean? He says, 6 weeks in Hawaii for your 60th birthday. Now, isn't that the best gift ever?
I certainly agree on this one. I get actually goosebumps here, and you certainly don't look 60. I mean, I'm a little bit over 50. I'm actually 55. So you really, really, really do look amazing. And I guess you walk your talk, and that's why you look so amazing. I also really love that you specialize on helping women over 50, being in that age group. I know, we have some certain needs we need, of course, and I know you have amazing strategies. So tell me, what brought you to become, what you do today, helping the women around the world?
Starting with my own experience, after my first child was born, or while I was pregnant, I turned in what I always call a big pink balloon. Because I vividly remember my husband took a picture of me and he said, "Honey, you look beautiful." Like men usually tell you that you look beautiful no matter what you look, just to be on the safe side. And I looked at the picture and I was 8 months pregnant and I had gained 50 pounds, 50. I was huge. And I had bought this really cute, glittery pink outfit for pregnancy. And I looked like a pink elephant, if you ask me. But he said I look beautiful. Now, growing up in Europe, and Andrea, I know you can relate, is that we are very active in Europe. You bike everywhere, you walk everywhere. And now over the past, I'm sure 30 years, things have changed. People go to the gyms and plan more for their activity. But back then, you were so active just to begin with that when I was in the States and I didn't see that people were driving, um, the everything was in the car. Nobody would walk even to the store. Oh, we can just drive up to the store. Oh, it's too hot today. It's humid. Oh, let's drive. And there was not a lot of physical activity. So I had gained those 50 pounds. And of course, I lost 30 pounds just because I delivered a large baby and whatnot. But the rest, I had no idea how to get rid of the weight. No idea. my husband just said, it will happen. Don't worry, breastfeed. And that didn't happen. And I said, I don't know. So a friend of mine dragged me to an exercise class and I was mortified. Me in an exercise class? Oh my God, no. But I said, all right. She said, Heike, they have music and it's like dancing. And I love dancing. So we went to the class. We took the class. I could bring my son to the babysitting facility they had. And basically, the rest is history. I loved it. I thought it was so great. I got to meet other people that were not moms. Not that there's anything wrong with meeting moms, but when you're in a professional setting for so many years and suddenly you're just a mom, it's a little hard to adjust because all you talk about is your baby and your husband and diapers and feeding and how much they spit up on you. And that was not enough. I wanted other conversations. And teaching those dancercise classes back then, okay, ladies, if you're thinking of Zumba now, this was Zumba 30 years ago. And it was just fun. And that's how my fitness career started gaining momentum. I learned one thing, and then I said, "Oh, isn't that cool if I could learn how to build muscles, how to get stronger, how to lose weight, how to help somebody else?" Then with the certifications and the training I had, and so I had a vast variety of things that I did and taught. If you think of something that you thought, "Oh, did she teach that?" I probably did anything from step aerobics to spin classes to yoga to then eventually Pilates, to kickboxing, to you name it, I taught it because I thought it's so fun to be fit.
I can
and
see that. That's amazing.
and one of my mottos is to, and my kids keep telling me that. It's like, Mom, yeah, we know that by now. Exercise is good for you. No matter what age, no matter what ability, no matter what you have or don't have as far as equipment or space, exercise is just good for you inside and out. And so my career took off, and I just loved what I was doing, and it was a lifestyle too where I could bring my kids with me.
Mhm.
So by then I had two, so my daughter followed 3.5 years later, and they were also introduced to this lifestyle that wherever we went, they would go to the babysitting, but as they got older, they were able to participate like in tennis classes or swim lessons, depending on where I was working at that time. And so it just started growing into more and more. And I invented the Pilates on the ball program along the way, which I'm very proud of. And it just became such a fun lifestyle that I can't imagine our life without exercise. And, as I learned all these things, and I have to also say, whatever I learn and I find interesting, I test it on so I'm test subject. I'll test it out and see if it actually delivers the promise that is made. Like when somebody brings out a new gadget and you're so tempted to buy this new gadget, I'm thinking, do we really need to spend this money? How many exercises can we do with this? And or will it end up under the bed,
Right.
stored away? So same with intermittent fasting. I tested it and I tried it out. And everything I learned, Andrea, along the way, I applied.
Mm.
And anybody reads my bio knows that from the mom, I became a bodybuilder. So I wanted to have the biggest muscles that I ever could have. And I know some people go, "Oh my goodness, big muscles." Well, it was a mission, but it I learned how, if somebody would come to me and say, "Heike, I want really big muscles," I knew how to do that. And so I learned through that process. And then I decided, okay, I'm done with bodybuilding. And then I became a runner. I
Oh,
was like, oh, running is kind of cool. And so I started going into marathons. And if you run long distance, I qualified for the Boston Marathon in my first marathon. So if you're a runner, this means something to you because most people don't. And I thought, oh, how great is this? Though I learned how to run long distance, what you need to eat, how to apply the stretching and the recovery times, which then led me to be an ultra marathoner. So that means over 26.2 miles
whoa.
into into a 50 miler. So it's just one thing. And I was always curious.
Like
And
that.
this curiosity has really helped me train me. And I became an Ironman triathlete as well. So took everything I learned, put it on my own body, and then said, what can I do with this for my clients? What is good for them at
Mm.
this point in their life? And this is also how I ended up with women over 50, because as you mentioned a minute ago, we have very different needs than even a 40-year-old. Our
Absolutely.
bodies change slowly but dramatically after menopause or during menopause.
Fully agree. Yes, that's really inspirational. Wow, you really kick it, huh? Love it.
Just curious, that's
That's
all. So I don't
great.
expect anybody to be crazy, like crazy nutter like me, but it's just
But
curiosity.
it's great, you experience it, you have fun, you implement it into your life, you know how it fits with your family, etc. And I think that's so important today. And I absolutely love this. I remember, wow, I'm really impressed. Didn't know that one actually. I see a lot of photos, on your and videos on your website, of course, and on social media. So that's great. Now, especially, during this time, pandemic and so on, a lot of people are struggling with their craving issues, with their emotional eating, and so on. And we've spoken a lot about exercise and adding exercise to your life that works for you, right? Some people still, the gyms are closed, or, people just don't want to mingle because they want to be safe, of course, as well, still. And it might last, we don't know. So, what would you say, somebody who could not access, let's say, the gym, what could they do as a one easy exercise at home that helps them maybe to get a little bit fitter, to help them with a weight loss or overcome emotional eating?
Okay, now don't laugh. And if you do, please have a good chuckle. Dance around your kitchen.
Agree.
Magic bullet. Turn on your favorite tunes. And if you're not a dancer, you can always do a hippie move, whatever that is for you, or just walk around the kitchen aisle. But as I said, I love dancing. I'm a salsa dancer, but also an Argentine tango dancer.
Oh,
So you will find me strutting around my kitchen. But think about it. The pandemic has made us so withdrawn
mhm.
physically, emotionally from everybody through the Zoom. We couldn't hug anybody
Yeah.
for over a year. We're isolated. I'm a big believer that we don't need to be tied to, number one, a piece of equipment, and number two, to a place like a gym. It is convenient and it's easy and it works for some. And I used to work at gyms for years. So I'm not poo pooing the gym. If that works for you, that's your jam. But if you can't go, and I think the lesson we learned is that sometimes we have to be creative. But how do you be creative when you are sad?
Mm.
When the fridge looks at you every time you dance around the kitchen and you're thinking, okay, let's open it and just see what else could I eat. Oh, you're really not craving anything hunger wise, but emotionally. So the easiest thing is just dance around the kitchen. It doesn't have to be what you did before. So don't be so hard on yourself and expect to suddenly putting on a full regime of exercise at home. If you have some equipment at home, you probably know how to use it, like bands and maybe some weights. I'm a huge fan of the big stability balls. And so there's a ton of exercises we can do with those things. But if you're not motivated and if you're just sad and depressed, is really what many people have been
Mhm.
this year, as you know, Andrea, it's just do something that gets your mind away. And it may be meditation, it may be breathing, but do something that's just do, you know, or make it your goal that you are gardening. You're like, okay, this is something you can put your earbuds in, you can listen to a podcast. Me, I recommend the Pursue Your Spark podcast, but uh, music, or you just silently dig around with your plant, and being connected to the earth is also healing. So walk around barefoot in the grass. And I know some people say, Heike, this is a little woo woo. I'm very earthbound. I love digging around in my garden and going barefoot. So I think this is something, it's just do something, even if it feels goofy.
Love it. I'm a garden person. So at the moment, that's where I spend my little free time. I have a small little garden we moved here recently. So I'm still trying to redo the whole thing. It changed a lot. It was like a kind of forest or so.
Mhm.
And I enjoy that. And yes, we set up a complete home gym. I started off with just a few bands and, a few little things here and there. And every week we add, or every whatever few weeks we add some weights or more bands. Or I just got a rebounder from my kids for my birthday, which I love because the rebounder is, you put music on, you dance on the rebounder and jump up and down. Really, really great thing. Very, very positive and also good for your lymph actually. So these are all
Exactly.
little ideas, and I would love to know from the listeners here in the comments down on this page, maybe you have some ideas or something you are doing to bring a little bit exercise into your life. So maybe you want to share that in the comments, or if you struggle with it as well and you want to share the struggles or any questions, please do share that. It might motivate others, and I'm always happy to get back, of course. So, Heike, I know that you are all about intermittent fasting, especially for women over 50s. And we will have a deeper discussion around that. But I will first of all want to let you share a little bit. Some people don't know maybe so much about intermittent fasting. So, what is intermittent fasting, and how can somebody start it as a beginner who doesn't know so much about it?
Yeah. Intermittent fasting has gotten a good rap and a bad rap. Okay, so we have these two camps. Now, let's start off with the negative first, because I don't like negative stuff. Like I'm super positive. But what many people seem to think intermittent fasting is, it's a starvation diet. It is, and certain programs promote that you only can eat certain things and that you have to be very strict, and that if you do not eat that certain way during your feeding times, I should say, the times when you eat, then intermittent fasting is not working. And that's one perception. The other perception about intermittent fasting is that it heals your gut. So it's good for your stomach. So think about bloating, think about menopause, how it changes your metabolism and how it affects your gut health with food allergies. Bloating is definitely a problem I have dealt with a lot. And it is about fitting eating and not eating into your lifestyle. So when you think, the word applies it, intermittent fasting, there are many strategies out there that go, oh, you fast 16 hours, 18 hours, 30 hours, every other day you eat, don't eat for a week, drink only water for days, or don't drink any water, whatever the methods are. If you're interested in intermittent fasting, the by far easiest is to sleep through it. Yep, you heard me right. Sleep through it. Here's the deal. You eat like you normally eat every day. Then let's assume your dinner is at 7. That's usually when we eat dinner. So 7 o'clock sounds a good time. But then you don't eat your midnight snack or after snack, after dinner snack. It's dinner and you're done. Then you go to bed. Also super important for sleep that you don't eat close to bedtime. Different story. So then you sleep and you sleep. So you're fasting, you're fasting, you're fasting. Then you get up. You wake up maybe at 6 in the morning. That's when we wake up usually. I don't encourage coffee drinking. So I started drinking fennel tea, which is easier on our stomach. But may as it be, and then wait for a little bit and see if you're actually hungry. If you always eat breakfast at 6:30 because that's when you eat it, wait a little bit. Are you really hungry then? Maybe you can wait till 7 or 6:45. You have fasted. This is called intermittent fasting. This is the easiest way to find out if you can last that long during the night that you don't eat, don't have your midnight snack. And I bet you will be successful. You may at first get up and say, "Oh no, I have to have my breakfast at 6:30 for whatever reason." It could be
Yeah.
business related, work related. But intermittent fasting is flexible based on your life, based on what you do every day. And this is a good way to get started, just to see if you're okay with not instantly eating when you wake up.
Very good strategy. Because I was always wondering, usually, I mean, there are, like you mentioned, several ways of doing intermittent fasting. The most known, I think, is the 16-8, right?
Mhm.
And for me, I believe like blood sugar is a very important thing. And for example, personally, I do struggle if I don't eat for a amount of time, a longer amount of time, I get what I call hangry, right? And my husband
Mhm.
very well knows that I don't want to get hangry. And it makes always sure that if that happens for whatever reason, it doesn't happen often, he has something for me to eat quickly. So if, for example, I get up in the morning, and of course, I can do easily the 12 hours or so, that's not the issue. But if I would want to start and get a little bit more serious about getting to 16 hours without getting hangry, because my blood sugar is in that way, what would be a strategy? I would love to ask you that.
Okay, I keep reading research that comes out about intermittent fasting, and everybody has their own little take and their own little interpretation. And I'm fortunate to be a nutrition coach or sports nutrition coach for Precision Nutrition, and their research is amazing. And they recommend that women shouldn't intermittent fast longer than 14 hours for optimal fat loss. So 14 hours, the 16-8 is for a guy. Are some women successful with this? Sure, because everybody's different, but they found in their research that 14 hours is the optimal fasting length for a woman wanting to lose weight, perhaps, but most of all, have the gut healing, which starts at 12 hours. So if you want to do something good for your stomach, 12 hours is plenty of time to start the process of autophagy. That means your gut is starting to turn over the cells, and he breaks down the not so good things, for simple terms. So it makes your gut better. It digests everything, and it gets rid of old cells, which sounds horrible, but may as it be. But 12 hours. Then you go to 14 hours if fat loss is your goal. So there is no need to be hangry and pushing for longer windows. The 16-8 has done well for most men, most women, not so much. So yeah, don't go to the point of where you say, okay, I'm hungry, I can wait a little bit more, but if I don't eat now, I'm dizzy. That's too far.
Agree.
And I think that's a good example. Like you said, I'm just maybe get the
Mm,
jitters, I'm nervous, or maybe I even start sweating.
yeah.
That's time that it's too long of a window. So extending the window, maybe just by half an hour once a week, and see how it goes.
Love that. So, first of all, you converted me trying because I admit I always had a resistance to intermittent fasting. My husband does it very often, not all the time. At the moment, he's actually not doing it. And I was always there, yeah, I would like to try, but 16 hours is just, it's not working. 12 hours, no problem. I do that almost naturally, general, right? So I
Yep.
will definitely try it and bring it up to 14 hours or whatever time is right, because I believe really in personalized nutrition, right? A personalized approach. We all are different. It's not because there's a program out there or Google says or your friend says or whoever that it works for you, no matter what, right? No matter if it's a vegan diet, a keto diet, intermittent fasting or not, it needs to fit for you, right? And you need to feel fine. So try it out, what works for you, maybe journal a little bit around how you feel, and then, see, oh, it works with 12 or 13 hours or whatever it is, right? And then you can keep it up actually and you feel comfortable. And that's when you
Mhm.
see doing it consistently, you see the results, right?
Yep, absolutely. Like with anything else, if you stick with it, you'll see the results. Not a week of intermittent fasting is not going to take your bloating away or make it better. It's not going to help you lose body fat or
Mm.
weight or feel better overall, get more clarity as we get through the fasting process. Or also, as this we're talking in the summit about the mindset around food as we're eating, or why are we eating? Are we really hungry? Do we really need to feed our stomach, or is it our soul that needs food? And that is also a big part of intermittent fasting that I'm teaching. It's not just instant gratification.
Yeah.
Feed me, everything's good. So I loved it, and I started it almost 3 years ago because I couldn't lose. I mean, I was training for a triathlon, a half Ironman, so half a distance of a long one, which still takes me about 6 hours to finish. But I trained hard and I couldn't lose body fat. My weight was going up despite all my training and all the nutrition that I had done for years. And like many of us coaches, have 6 meals a day, have 3 meals and 3 snacks. And I was always convinced that I had to constantly feed my body carbohydrates or
Hmm.
of any kind of nutrition. Otherwise, I couldn't perform in my sports. But that didn't work at all. And that's when I came across intermittent fasting. And I said, I got to try this because nothing I have done for 30 years is working anymore. And that's how I came about it. And that's why I made it my own, and also my programs. I give people the freedom to choose what works for them at their stage in the day or the week or where they are.
Yeah, and I hear you in, things that might have worked 20 years ago don't work because our
Yeah.
hormones change, our system change, et cetera, and it's just not working. So you have to find the right thing that works for you. So we've talked a little bit how intermittent fasting helps with bloating, but the show is called "What Are You Really Craving?" So I wonder, how does intermittent fasting help or stop cravings?
When you start intermittent fasting, first, I was baby steps. We're getting the window nailed down. That's works for you, whatever that is, right? There's a whole bunch of different variations out there. Once you have the window, then you look at what you're actually eating. If you want to make your stomach better, you want to lean out, lose body fat, and perhaps lose weight, which could be a side effect, but it's not necessarily so. You need to look at the foods you're eating. Are you eating foods that increase inflammation in your stomach or decrease inflammation in your stomach? And that sounds all like really complicated, but it's really not that complicated. If you think French fries, baked potato, okay, we'll go for the baked potato. Then we go, okay, we nix the French fries because that's really not so good at all. Whatever. Go to baked potato. Then we say, okay, how about a broccoli over here? So we say, oh, cool. Let's take the potato and replace it with the broccoli. So we're shooting more for a almost plant-based diet, least processed, and that includes wine, ladies and gentlemen, if any
Yes,
gentlemen are here,
there are.
or a beer. So they're all fermented and they all have sugar and they're not so good for your stomach. But when you think about what you're eating in the day, and I've heard from so many of the people that went through my program, they said, Heike, my cravings are a lot less. And it makes me sad when I hear somebody say, I'm a sugar addict. I can't stop eating sugar, or I have to have my chips. I can't be without my chips. That's just me. It's a lie. It's a myth. It's something that somebody told you that is who you are, but you're not. Do we all have a sweet tooth? Totally. We're eating more M&Ms on this trip than we have in a long time. But
Hmm.
when we get back home, no more M&Ms. But we just do it for fun. So think about what is it that you're feeding your body to curb the cravings? Because if you eat the right foods, the cravings will be less because you already fed your body the things that might trigger a craving. If you're low in salt, if you're low in magnesium, if you're low in iron. So all the things that where we're building our meals around, that it's the almost plant-based, but not quite, because I do like a good piece of chicken or a fish. Like here in Hawaii, we have the freshest fish, and add it to our meals. So creating healthful meals that will then in turn curb the cravings. And you know what? It's okay if you have a craving every now and again. It's normal. If you love chocolate and you just say, I'm just going to eat that whole bar. Let's go, just go all out. You eat that whole bar, but then you're done and you're like, oh, I just really wanted that. And that's it. Don't put yourself down for having that one-time craving. If that craving is more, then you need to look at, in my opinion, for the overall meals that you're eating, and don't label yourself.
Yeah.
Don't label yourself that you're the sugar addict comes to mind, because I just came across that. You're not.
So much about positive self-talk, right, as well, because I'm a lot about, what are you really craving, right? And finding
Mhm.
that out is, of course, one big thing that's super important here. And not labeling yourself and having the self-sabotage or negative self-talk that just keeps on going and going and going. So by just changing this a little bit is so much helpful. And I wonder, for our attendees here, you've shared so much, Heike, during your talk about intermittent fasting and implementing healthy exercises and so many other things. What is for you the most valuable, and what is it specifically you can implement right now? Is it maybe trying out intermittent fasting or maybe some exercise? I would love to know in the comments. So just share down here on the page with us what you're gonna do, or share it also in your workbook that you could have downloaded here. Now, Heike, I know that you have a little gift for our attendees here, so they can learn more and actually implement it not only today, but going forward. I know you have your intermittent fasting cheat sheet for women over 50. I think I'm going to look at that myself. Would you tell us a little bit more?
It is super simple. There's a few strategies in the cheat sheet that if you liked what you heard today and you said, oh, this is cool, but I can't remember everything she said, this will be a good, quick refresher, with also where you can print it out and write in what your fasting windows are and your thoughts, and a little bit more about how you feel about intermittent fasting. Because I want you to think, if you're over 50, and especially when you're an empty nester, you don't have to eat what you ate when the kids were home. You can now talk to yourself in a good way and feed yourself the meals that are good for you, and start the fasting process, like I said, overnight. But grab that cheat sheet and just start logging a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're not much of a writer, I get it. Just kind of write it on a little cheat sheet or sticky notes. I'm a big fan of sticky notes. And start and just see how you feel and experiment it, because now you can make the meals that you love, whatever they are. You can start meal planning, but the cheat sheet shows you different examples of how you could get started. Very baby step, because I believe there's so much information out there and we get overwhelmed so quickly, and then we don't want to even start. That I created that cheat sheet for you to get going.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is really great. Now, I would like that you just share, where can people find you to find out more about you?
At heikeyates.com, and that's HEIKEYATES.com. And you can find me anywhere on social media, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. You find me under Heike Yates, Pursue Your Spark. That's my business account. And anywhere, just Google Heike Yates. You find my podcast there, Pursue Your Spark podcast. You find me everywhere. It's super simple. I'd
Super.
love to hear from you.
I'm sure you will get lots of people signing up for the amazing things you have there. And her website is really great with so many practical tips and so lots of free things that you can find there and you can take advantage. Now, Heike, I know you live or you are at the moment in an amazing spot, of course, but I wonder, what are you really craving right now?
Peace and
Ah,
tranquility.
okay.
And, one of the things is I have, for many reasons, disengaged completely from the news. Even when I scroll through Facebook, I'm skipping the news feeds, whatever they are. Every now and again, I peek a little bit. But envision this. I'm looking at you guys right here, but when I look beyond my laptop, I look at the ocean. I look at the waves. The sun is up. The palm trees are blowing. I just feel really at peace.
Mm.
And that's what I want going forward, that we're not, following the rat race, that we're not uber competitive, that they're kind to each other, that we smile more. And now, guess what? We're fully vaccinated. By the time we get home, we can hug people again that are not in our immediate bubble. And I think kindness is something that we need to continue to spread. It's been a very, very difficult year. And sharing a smile, a fist bump, or just something, a knowledge that you have, like Andrea is asking you to put comments in the today in this episode. Write something positive, say something positive to yourself, you know kindness and yeah, and peace. That's what I want for everybody.
Love it. Kindness to yourself and others and peace. Love that. Definitely so positive. Heike, I really, really enjoyed our talk. It's time to say goodbye, but we will see each other on your podcast, I'm sure. Thank you for being today on this show. I'm really so happy to have you with the Food Freedom Festival. What are you really craving? Thanks for sharing your wisdom and being with us today.
My pleasure, Andrea.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay.